Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 13th episode of the Diary of an Endodontist. And today we have a very interesting case of trauma, so stay with me. This patient was referred to us and he had a trauma of the upper right one. So he fractured the crown, as you can see here. Part of the crown is missing on the upper right one. All the other teeth seem to be fine, apart from the gingiva is slightly inflamed. On the palatal aspects, there's still a small fragment inside of the gingiva, and there is pulp exposure. The patient was in pain, and we also noticed the ulceration on the lower, in this area of the frenum, where he said that the piece of the tooth probably went through that and came out of the mouth during the accident. He couldn't remember that well, but they couldn't find any piece of the tooth. The X-ray, there is there is a coronal fracture, but there is no root fracture. And the margin, as you can see, is pretty much what we saw in the mouth. And the bone level is in a good position, the gingiva, so the tooth is restorable, as we know. The palatal piece was removed and the tooth isolated for the root canal treatment. As you can see, I used a small premolar clamp, but you can use the anterior clamp. There is no right or wrong, whatever you feel comfortable. The reason why I like to use small premolar clamps for the anterior is that I put on the other side where my nurse doesn't have this part of the clamp in her view, and she can put the suction, and it's a lot easier for us to work. But it doesn't matter. As long as you isolate so you don't have any sodium hypochlorite going under your rubber dam, then I'll be happy whichever clamp you find easier for you. The root canal treatment was performed, and then we went on a discussion based on the previous picture with the patient. I had that discussion previously, and of course wanted to know what to do with this tooth. I didn't want the patient to go back home with that piece missing. I love composites. I love the restorative side of it. So I offered to the patient that a composite filling would be enough. In this case, I don't think we need any post at all. There is enough tooth for you to bond composite. I fractured my tooth when I was 9, and I have just a composite filling, and it's been there forever. I never had any chip of that tooth, so it's absolutely fine for me. And aesthetically is wonderful. You don't need to match to the porcelain to a natural color. You can just match the composite, which in my opinion, I feel a lot easier in my hands to do that while the patient is with me during the root canal treatment. So the composite was performed on that visit. Of course, the gingiva is still a bit swollen, a bit inflamed, but it will heal. It's just a matter of time. It's just that the accident happened just a few weeks ago. And as long as you bond the composite properly, following all your protocol, good protocol of etching, bonding, and composite, and make sure the occlusion is fine as well. Make all the jaw excursions, protrusion, lateral excursions, and make sure there is no huge contact or interference for that composite to fracture in future. If you follow all that protocol, then that composite should last for a long time. Of course, let the patient know that if the composite starts to chip, then you can think about a plan B, perhaps a veneer or a crown. But for the time being, I think it's pretty aesthetic. The patient is young, so it's good to have that back into function without any problem. As you can see, the two views, if you follow, I like to follow the same vertical inclination as well. For the aesthetic, it's a lot better. And yeah, I think that that would be the only thing, is the occlusion. And also let the patient know not to bite on any apple or any French bread or anything that you could do that movement, because that can force the composite to fracture. So I hope you have enjoyed this case, and I hope you end up doing more composites instead of sacrificing all the tooth structure to a crown, for example. Thank you very much for staying with us. And if you want to contact us, you can leave the comments below, or you can find me on Instagram or LinkedIn, or even on the website. You take care.